Did the White House doctor video about Jim Acosta at a White House press conference? Let's check the facts. Hi, thanks for watching. It's Friday, Fact Check Friday, and I got a doozy today. This is an insane story, and I'm sure you've heard about it. Jim Acosta of CNN had his press pass revoked for the White House, and everyone is claiming that the video is doctored. Conspiracy alert. This is really insane. I'm going to go through a lot of the media's accusations, and then I'm going to debunk it pretty easily. So let's start off. Nice and easy. We'll start with The Verge. The White House used a doctored video to tell a lie. The purpose of propaganda is to destroy trust in a shared reality. Now, this is insane. If you're going to make a claim like this, you should have, evidence, right? And so what this is all about is Jim Acosta was at a press conference, and he was speaking with the president. The president's like, hey, that's enough. Stop. An aide came over to take the microphone. Jim Acosta instinctively moved his arm, knocked her a little bit. Now, I think this is no big deal. To me, this was no big deal. A lot of times we do this just in general. Someone picks a piece of lint off our shirt and we flinch or something like that. And that's pretty much, in my opinion, what Jim Acosta did here. And believe me, I'm not a fan of Jim Acosta. I don't care for him at all. But I don't think what he did was that big a deal. But let's take a look at what was tweeted out from Press Secretary Sarah Sanders. This is the supposed doctored video. Let's check this out. Okay, so that's it. Now, what I find really interesting in all of this is I downloaded the video directly from her Twitter account. That's the video that I have. And it's shocking to me that so many of these people in the media don't go to the source because they're putting out videos that are not directly from the source. And I'll show you why in a minute here. Now, The Verge goes on to say, many outlets reported that the videos have been doctored and how, including the Washington Post and Fast Company, something was clearly different, but with all the speculation, it was difficult to understand exactly what made it that different. So they got in touch with some guy here, and this is his claim. This is insane. At first glance, he says that they sped up the clip to emphasize the motion. The video speeds up when Acosta's hand makes contact with the intern's arm. You can see the hand raised in the background moves more quickly, and her face turns more quickly, and the guy in the left drops his mic down to waist level more quickly, he explains. Overlaying two videos at the same time, he says, is the best way to demonstrate exactly how it differs. The press secretary's video clearly speeds up at the moment Acosta's hand touches the intern's arm. This is factually false. This is not true. What I did, and let me tell you, I have a microphone, so that makes me an expert, and I have been editing videos since January 1 of 2018, okay? So I know what I'm talking about. And what I did is I downloaded the video from Twitter, and I downloaded the exact same video from C-SPAN, and I laid one over the other, and guess what? They're the same. There's a very slight difference, but that comes down to frame rates. You see, what was tweeted by Sarah Sanders was a GIF, and that has usually 15 frames per second, sometimes less. And on YouTube, most of the time, videos will have 30 frames per second. In fact, my camera shoots at 29.97 frames per second. And so if you take 30 frames a second, and you take it down to 15 frames per second, and then you put it back to 30, it's not going to be exactly the same. There's going to be a little bit of blur, but not much. Okay, that's the thing, is you're comparing two different things. But I'm telling you, and I will show you this, I laid them one on top of the other, and there's not this blur that they're talking about. If it were true that it were sped up, then anyone, including you, could download the video from Press Secretary Sanders, download the video from C-SPAN, put it in iMovie or Final Cut or whatever video editing software you have, turn down the opacity. Is that the right word? Opacity? Take one layer and put it down to about 50%, and then you can see the difference between the two. Guess what? There's no difference. Well, the difference is one of them has 15 frames per second and one has 30. So the one that with it is 15 frames per second, obviously there's going to be a little blur between each frame to compensate for the lost frames. This is exactly what you would expect, and I will show you a real clear example of this a little bit later in the video. It says, this is not just frame blending, which would happen if you transcoded from a different frame rate. Herman says, it's a sloppily done speed change on the footage itself. Well, if that's true, then why can't I reproduce this? When I put it in my video editing software, I can't find that it speeds up and slows down. I can't do that. So you've told me what the sources are. I took the two sources, and guess what? They're the exact same speed. This is BS. So enough with The Verge. Let's move on to The Washington Post. Sarah Sanders promotes an altered video of CNN reporter sparking allegations of visual propaganda. Now, here's what Washington Post does. They're technically correct. She promoted an altered video. And by altered, right, if you want to get technical about it, is she put out a GIF that was 15 frames per second when the original was 30 frames per second. So, yeah, technically that's altered. The Washington Post goes on to say, if that is the case, the video may belong in the category rarely employed by democratic governments, visual propaganda. So if that were the case, then you should be able to reproduce it. I reproduced it. I reproduced that they are the exact same speed. You know who didn't do this? The Washington Post. I am sure there is someone that works at the Washington Post that can download a Twitter video and put it in iMovie. I'm sorry, but someone can. But they didn't even check. They're reporting on what other people are saying. So technically they're true. Technically they're right. They are reporting that someone else said this. They could check it for themselves, but they didn't. This is really bad journalism. Let's move on to CBS. White House accused of sharing doctored video of CNN reporter intern exchange. See, that is true. The White House was accused of sharing a, quote, doctored video. But here's an idea, CBS. What you could do is you can check and see if it was doctored. You can check and see if it was sped up. It wasn't. Here in the CBS article it says, journalists and others on social media criticized Sanders for distributing the video which created the appearance that the encounter was more violent than it actually was. Absolutely shameful, CNN Vice President of Communications and Digital Partnerships Matt Dorick tweeted, you released a doctored video, actual fake news. History will not be kind to you. Again, if the video were sped up, then anyone should be able to reproduce that and show that that's a fact. You can't. Anyone that's watching my video can download the Twitter video. Just Google, how do I download a Twitter video? You get that video. Download the video from C-SPAN, from their YouTube page. Lay one on top of another. They're the same speed. Now, CBS quotes this guy, Raphael Shimunov, who apparently is a video guy. And his tweet went super viral today. like 79,000 retweets, which is insane. And this is what he says. He says, took Press Secretary Sarah Sanders' video of briefing, tinted red and made transparent over C-SPAN video. Red motion is where they doctored video speed. Sped up to make Jim Acosta's motion look like a chop. I've edited video for 15 plus years. The White House doctored it. This is the tweet that went viral that everyone shared. And this tweet is absolute BS. Let's take a look at it.
That's one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President, it's one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President, it's one of the other folks.
That's enough.
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 Here's why this is insane. There, you can see the ghosted red image in this. And that's because this video editor didn't line up the videos. He didn't do it. Because guess what? I lined up the videos and I couldn't reproduce this. Now, I could if I were to, say, move it a frame back or move it a frame forward. Then yeah, I could get that red ghosting image. Anyone could do that. In fact, when you look at the video here, you can look anywhere on the video that you see any movement, such as with a hand, the girl raising up her phone, or Trump moving his finger, and you'll notice that they're not in sync. From the very beginning, the first frame of this is not in sync. So if it's not in sync, you're going to get that ghost image. In fact, here's something that I did. I took a video of Taylor Swift dancing awkwardly. And I took 2 copies of the exact same video. I put one on top of another, and I shifted it 1 frame. That's right, 1 frame out of 30. And guess what you get? You get the exact same red ghosting that this viral tweet got. Anybody can do that. And the ridiculous thing about this video that was made, that went viral, it's clear. If you look at the very first frame, they're not in sync. Even without starting the video, you have 2 different images. That's not right. That is total propaganda. This guy's lying. This guy's doing this on purpose. If he has worked on videos for over 15 years, he knows exactly what he's doing. And in fact, if you look at the guy's bio, he's an activist. Why is anyone taking this guy's word for it? I can look at it and I can see they're not lined up, they're not in sync, so of course there's going to be ghosting. CBS is promoting this nonsense. Did CBS even check this for themselves? Are you telling me that CBS doesn't have one person at their network that can download a Twitter video and download a C-SPAN video, lay one on top of another and see if they're the same speed? Of course CBS has people to do that. And they didn't do that. Why? That's the real question. Why didn't they fact check this? Big major news organizations, you have people at your company that can check this stuff out. You don't have to rely on what someone else said. Do it yourself. You'd have a lot more credibility if you did. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments. Peace. Help me reach my goal of 1 million of 2,000 subscribers by clicking the like button and subscribing. Thanks.